Hello, welcome to another short video with Happy Histories with Michael. I've become mobile. I've got a car, and it's enabled me to drive here to the outskirts of London, to Woking, and we are visiting the first purpose-built mosque in Europe, apart from Islamic Spain, which has a long history. This was initially built by a gentleman called Gottlieb Wilhelm Lerner. He was from Budapest. He was of Jewish descent, but his family converted to Christianity. And he spent a great deal of his life traveling, his youth traveling, and studying actually with Muslim students. And he was a master of the Arabic language and could recite an awful lot of the Quran. At the age of 17, he came here to King's College London, where he studied languages and Islamic law. He was such a high flyer that at the age of 19, he actually became a lecturer there. And at the age of 24, he was a professor. However, he then moved to Lahore in India, where he set up the Lahore University, and he was the principal of that university until he returned to this country in 1889. And he wanted to set up a place of learning for English people about to go to India, and for Indian people to come to England, and it was kind of a halfway house. And he did this with the funds borrowed from a lady, Begum Shah Jahan, and she was the leader. She was the Sultana of the principal of Bhopal in India. So it was her fund that helped build this fine building here. And in 1899, when Gottlieb died, he was actually issuing degrees from this Institute of Learning. And then sadly it became neglected. However, in 1912, a gentleman, and I'm going to struggle with the pronunciation of this name, Kamaludin, came here. Now, he had been a lawyer in India, and he was a very wealthy man, and he came over here and he saw the mosque, how it had fallen into disrepair, and he was really very upset. But he, together with some friends, rejuvenated the place, and he made this the Woking Muslim Mission. We have Christian missionaries in all over the world, and he decided to have a Muslim mission here. And a lot of people became Muslim. At one point they maintained there were about 10,000 Muslims in England, and of those 10% were converts, and the likes of Lord Headley. He was an Irish baronet and a member of the House of Lords, and Muhammad Marmaduke Pickthall, another influential author at the time. And people like this, they were converting to Islam. So with the Indian people who were visiting here and these English converts, the place really took off. But it's actually very nicely landscaped here. But I want to actually take you inside and show you what it's like inside. Okay, follow me. Now, I'm going to have to be a little bit quieter because gentlemen here attended to their worship, and behind this screen there are some ladies as well. But you can see the building. It's not huge because, of course, it was catering for quite a small congregation. But at the times of the Eids, the whole area outside was used for worship as well. And it's peculiar, at that time, a lot of the converts to Islam were kind of wealthy aristocrats and so on. And they were drawn to the simplicity of the faith and also the egalitarianness of the faith as well. And here in the corners, we have written the 99 names of God. And in the Islamic faith, quite simply, what we've got to do, the attributes of mercy, kindness, generosity, justice. Muslims, we meditate on these qualities and we try to make them part of ourselves. I'll tell you one story, actually. Kamaludin, when he came here, this place was neglected. And he came in here and he found a copy of the Quran, and it was open at a verse. And on the verse, it said, God has made Mecca the house of God, where righteousness should be practiced. And he made sujood, he bowed down and he worshipped. And he prayed that God would make this the Mecca of the West. And it was, for a while, this was the headquarters, really, of English Islam. We had visiting dignitaries. Abdullah Yusuf Ali, he was another gentleman, an Indian civil servant, and he was a regular worshipper here. And he gave us one of the first translations of the Quran. And when he wrote this translation of the Quran, Queen Victoria, she was ruling over more Muslims than the Sultan in Istanbul. And also, the Queen was ruling over more Muslims than Christians. And the lingua franca of all of these people wasn't Arabic, it was actually English. And in his translation, he wanted to make English an Islamic language. But the man was a real Anglophile. And he married into English families, and he ended up dying here as well. So Marmaduke Pictou was another influential person here. Now, actually, he had travelled all around the Orient, and he'd learned Turkish and he'd learned Arabic, and he had a great respect. And he came back in. This was around the time when the war was breaking out, and he spoke in the House of Lords, and he said, "Look, please don't divide the Arabs from the Turks, because there'll just be mayhem." But of course, he wasn't listened to. War is money. Yeah? But actually, at one point, he was actually the son of a clergyman, and he went into a church one time, and a hymn by John Wesley was sung, which called the Prophet Muhammad a liar and a fraudster. And he just got out, walked out, and he never went into a Christian church. He actually converted to Islam. Now, because he knew the language and he was a master in all of the Islamic sciences, he actually came here, and he was an imam in the mosque. And he, again, gave us a really wonderful translation of the Quran. Unfortunately, in the 1930s, Kamaludin died, and then Lord Headley died, and also Marmaduke Pictou died. And once again, it fell into disrepair. And then after the war, we had a big influx of migrants, but they spread all over the country. And now, in my mind, the centre of Islam in this country is Cambridge. There's a wonderful mosque that's been built up in Cambridge. But this place is well worth a visit. It's very special. It's very special in its simplicity and its beauty. And we'll take you around now. We'll show you some of the surrounding areas. Okay, thank you. Okay, I just got to add a little PS to this video, something I neglected to mention. It's a bit of a myth, but it's a great story. There is a kind of a myth that Queen Victoria funded the building of this for her munshi. She had an Indian servant called Abdul Karim, and she was devoted to him, and he taught her Urdu. and she was quite proficient. She used to write in Urdu herself. Of course, they were in Windsor. This is miles away, but I dare say that Abdul Karim would have worshipped here. Okay, thank you very much.